agama Islam sangat mementingkan kesihatan. Di antara langkah paling berkesan untuk mengekalkan kesihatan ialah melalui permakanan. Al-Quran dan hadis Nabi SAW sendiri tidak ketinggalan menyebut tentang permakanan. Al-Quran mengungkap bahawa makan minum itu boleh saja, tetapi jangan sampai berlebih-lebihan. Sementara hadis Nabi SAW pula sampai menyebutkan sukatan 1/3 untuk makanan, 1/3 lagi untuk minuman, dan 1/3 pula untuk bernafas. Inilah kaedah permakanan bagi kesihatan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening. I'm Azrael Bakar and welcome to News at 10, the top stories tonight. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince is now in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia to attend the installation of His Majesty the 15th Yang di-Pertuan Agong of Malaysia. The use of high technology helps to quicken the growth of agriculture and agri-food-based industry production. His Royal Highness Prince Haji Al-Muhtadi Billah Ibn His Majesty Sultan Haji Hassan Al-Bolkiah Mu'izzuddin Wad-Daulah, the Crown Prince and Senior Minister at the Prime Minister's Office, is now in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, to attend the installation of His Majesty the 15th Yang di-Pertuan Agong of Malaysia, Sultan Muhammad V. His Royal Highness left the country this morning. Prior to departure, Doa Selamat was recited by Yang Berhormat Pihin Datuk Imam Datuk Paduka Seri Setia Ustaz Haji Awang Abdul Hamid bin Bakal. Present to bid farewell to His Royal Highness were Yang Mak Mulia Pengiran-Pengiran Kshatriya, Cabinet Ministers, members of the Privy Council, Acting Commander of the Royal Brunei Armed Forces, the Commissioner of Police, High Commissioner of Malaysia to Brunei Darussalam, and Permanent Secretaries. His Royal Highness Prince Haji Al-Muhtadi Billah, the Crown Prince and Senior Minister at the Prime Minister's Office, arrived in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia this afternoon. Present at Subang Air Force Base RNAF to greet His Royal Highness on arrival were Yang Berbahagia Datuk Kamil Samin, Chief of Ceremony, Under Secretary of Protocol Department, Prime Minister's Office of Malaysia, and Yang Berbahagia Datuk Kamilan Maksum, Malaysia's Chief of Protocol. Also present to greet His Royal Highness was His Excellency Datuk Paduka Haji Awang Alaihuddin bin Pihin Rangkai Digadong Sri Lela, Datuk Sri Utama Haji Awang Muhammad Taha, High Commissioner of Brunei Darussalam to Malaysia. His Royal Highness then boarded a motorcade towards a renowned hotel in Kuala Lumpur, where His Royal Highness would be residing throughout the duration of the stay. Muslims need to be grateful for the blessings bestowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Details next. First is excerpt of His Majesty's Dita. Gratefulness is among the keys of happiness that needs to be instilled by the Muslim Ummah in carrying out the daily life. Muslims need to be grateful for the blessings bestowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This was touched in a tazkirah during the Masjid Ku Makmur Negara Berkat program at the Omar Ali Saifuddin Mosque early this morning. The tazkirah, titled Bersyukurlah, was delivered by Haji Muhammad Suruddin bin Haji Timbang, Director of Islamic Legal Unit. Present was Datuk Paduka Awang Haji Abdul Mukti bin Haji Muhammad Daud, Deputy Minister of Religious Affairs.
Kadang-kadang disebut sebagai syakara, kadang-kadang disebut sebagai yashkuru, kadang-kadang disebut sebagai syakiran, mashkura dan seumpamanya.
The tazkirah began with the Mass Fardu Subuh prayer. The event is an initiative in increasing the number of congregants towards glorifying the mosques in conjunction with the Bandar Kuchariya program. Also present were members of the Legislative Council, Yang Berhormat Pengiran Haji Ali bin Pengiran Maun dan Yang Berhormat Pengiran Haji Muhammad bin Pengiran Haji Osman alias Othman. The change from traditional methods to the use of high-technology machinery has proven to give a positive impact to a local chicken slaughtering service company, Syarikat Abattoir Haji Jemahat Haji Liman, in ensuring the cleanliness and halal quality of the slaughtered chickens. The use of such machinery has also helped expedite the slaughtering process to fulfill orders from local companies and chicken farmers. The effort has helped quicken the growth of the agriculture and agri-food-based industry production through the use of high technology. As a local chicken slaughtering service provider, the cleanliness and halal aspect of the chicken slaughtered is a priority of Syarikat Abattoir Haji Jemahat Haji Liman. Since its establishment in early 2013, the company has continued to gain the trust of local companies and chicken farmers to handle the slaughtering process. Assistance from the government has enabled the local company to continue expanding. According to the manager of the abattoir, Awang Haji Jemahat bin Haji Liman, the use of the machinery has shown positive impact from the aspects of hygiene, cleanliness and speed. The machine currently used can produce 2,500 to 3,000 slaughtered chickens per hour. With higher demand, the machine output can be upgraded to 6,000 chickens per hour. The company's production for the last year was about 2.7 million chickens slaughtered.
Sangatlah banyak dan tinggi daripada segi hygiene-nya, kebersihan dan kecepatannya. Tapi yang masa ini mesin kami ini pun boleh katakan juga tinggi, yang mana boleh mengeluarkan 2.500 ke 3.000 sejam. Dan daripada segi kebesaran bangunan, kami boleh mengubah mesin-mesin yang di dalam kepada 6.000 per hour. Boleh dibuat dalam 6.000 per jam. Akan tetapi kalaupun kami akan membesarkan pun, daripada hasil penghantaran pun masih tidak cukup. Dan kami percaya, dan mesin yang ada masa ini kami boleh upgrade menjadi 6.000 per jam sekiranya ada permintaan lebih daripada orang ramai atau tambah sekali daripada pentanam. Hasil pengeluaran syarikat pada tahun lalu lebih kurang 2.7 juta ekor yang disembelih dalam tahun-tahun lepas itu.
Syarikat Abattoir Haji Jemahat also hope to explore several other business ventures, including starting up their own chicken farm. It is an initial idea moving on towards penetrating the overseas market. Other ventures include the manufacturing of chicken sausages and burgers, as well as processing chicken innards to pellets for freshwater fish food to reduce wastage. It is hoped the company's desire to penetrate the overseas market can help place Brunei Darussalam as one of the prominent halal chicken producers at the international level.
Untuk dijadikan makanan ikan, keli, tilapia dan sebagainya. Jadi barang bahan buangan ini.
Stay tuned for more news after this.
Welcome to Pizza Hut. Three of these, what? This, and this.
Dapatkan wow deals dari Pizza Hut. Dapatkan pan pizza serendah RM5 hanya untuk bawa balik dan makan di restoran sahaja. Masa adalah terhad.
%100 dibuat dari daun teh asli, bukan dari ekstrak seperti yang lain. Rasakan perbezaan teh hijau yang sebenar. Beralih ke Pouka, jenama nombor 1 di Singapura.
Wow! Welcome to Pizza Hut. Three of these, what? This, and this.
Dapatkan wow deals dari Pizza Hut. Dapatkan pan pizza serendah RM5 hanya untuk bawa balik dan makan di restoran sahaja. Masa adalah terhad.
Two local designers who uses traditional patterns as well as flora and fauna in their illustrations have attracted the attention of a world-renowned company known as the Royal Insignia to collaborate in producing the Brunei Gifts to the World collection. It is a lifestyle collection product that centers on Bruneian traditions. Dayang Nur Amnani binti Taib and Dayang Azima binti Ahmad each crafted products based on the local flora and fauna as well as with traditional patterns. The idea came about from the beauty of the flora and fauna found in the country as well as the local traditional designs. In an interview with RTB, both designers expressed their gratitude in being able to not only represent themselves but also Brunei to the world. Such opportunity, according to them, is a privilege and enables them to expose locals and foreigners to Brunei's floral collection.
Pasti oleh company yang besar seperti Royal Insignia. Jadi pada masa sama saya juga merasa bersyukur kerana dengan menjadi designer, Bruneian designer, saya mendapat peluang untuk bukan saja untuk represent myself tapi untuk Brunei. Jadi pada masa itu saya berfikir apabila mereka telah menerangkan tentang koleksi flora yang berkenaan dengan Brunei, saya merasa ini merupakan peluang terbesar lah untuk kita memberikan pendedahan kepada bukan saja kepada orang-orang Brunei juga kepada seluruh dunia lah.
Saya merasa bangga je lah dengan apa yang macam diorang dapat tahu design yang saya buat masa final year tu kan, and then it's actually macam privilege lah untuk kami macam mengembangkan lagi bakat kami dengan membuat kolaborasi sama Royal Insignia ni kan, kira macam mengasah lagi bakat kami itu lah, macam bekerja secara profesional.
It was really a joy working with both Azima and Amnani. I learned a lot about Brunei's flora and fauna. There were many interesting facts about the flowers that I didn't initially know about. With the Aye Mulay collection, Azima taught us a lot about the philosophy behind pattern design in Brunei. And they are both very, very talented, and it was really a joy working with them.
The products can be found at the Royal Insignia boutique located at the Empire Hotel and Country Club, Jurudong, as well as in the Republic of Singapore or through the e-commerce platform. The weekly Bandar Kuchaya program is hoped to create a healthy lifestyle, strengthen family institutions and enliven capital's atmosphere. The program also provides a platform for entrepreneurial development in the country. The cycling recreation activity are among the activities that receive encouraging response from the visitors. This week, RTB crew observed one of the local companies providing bicycle rental services that attract cycling enthusiasts, both adults and children. The bicycle rental service by Syarikat Mulia Sarah Sahnisa Enterprise makes sightseeing the capital easier for the public. According to Awang Abdul Manan bin Haji Hamid, the company owner, various types of bicycles are available for rental at a cost of as low as $2 an hour.
Aktiviti kami di sini sebenarnya Bandar Kuchaya ni kami ada menyewakan biskal, bermacam jenis biskal lah. Ada yang single, ada yang 2 tempat duduk, ada yang 3 tempat duduk. beca ada, sama ada jenis tunggangan yang baru masa ni, kuda yang khas untuk kanak-kanak lah. Ada juga yang pasar untuk orang tertua, ada juga lah semua. Harga yang kami bagi di sini, kami mengenakan sejam untuk RM10 biskal yang satu tempat duduk dengan 2 tempat duduk. Ya, ada yang 3 tempat duduk kami bagi RM15. Mengenai dengan beca, kami sewakan setengah jam untuk RM25. Manakala kuda pula, kami sewakan untuk 10 minit saja. Kami kenakan RM3 saja.
Activities lined up under the Bandar Kuchria program also attracted the attention of tourists. The Art Fair 2017, organised by Brunei Tourism in collaboration with local educational institutions, is hoped to attract art enthusiasts to the capital. Various colourful paintings by students from the Sengkurong Sixth Form Centre and International Graduate Studies IGS, as well as local artists, were on display, further enlivening the Bandar Kuchria atmosphere.
Bagi dorang exposure-nya orang untuk ke public, show dorang punya kerja-kerja yang sudah dorang buat dari semester awal ke semester akhir. So itulah lebih kepada inilah membawa dorang ni ke open space-nya orang. Sini kami display macam screen print, design studies based online, lepas tu digital illustration sama canvas painting on canvas, then also kami display works yang macam live painting ni lah.
Bagiku dalam semua ni aku boleh memperolehi skill-skill, pengalaman apa yang boleh membantu aku pada masa depan, seperti mana apa yang aku mau jadi, macam-macam career lah yang boleh jadi di sini ni, macam mendesain sesuatu, iklan, advertising sesuatu apa. Okey lah sini, selamat pengalaman di sini ni lah.
The country's taxi system offers services to overseas tourists and passengers at all levels. The service connects all strategic locations and destinations in the country, and taxi drivers can be called to pick up passengers at any point. Friendly and trustworthy, the taxi service is ready to serve you. A look at the Nisab Zakat for tithe rates for cash and property. Moving on to world news and the top stories tonight. French President François Hollande cast his vote in Toul, France, in the first round of a bitterly fought presidential election that is crucial to the future of Europe. Turnout in the first round of the French presidential election at 10 a.m. local time today was slightly higher than at the same stage in 2012, 4 hours after polling stations opened. Turnout was just over 28.5%, which would put the final turnout on course to be the figure of 79.48% in the first round in 2012. About 47 million voters are expected to cast their ballots in around 67,000 polling stations. Over 50,000 police backed by elite units of the French security services were on high alert, patrolling the streets less than 3 days after a gunman shot dead a policeman and wounded 2 others on the central Champs-Élysées Avenue. Global finance leaders are playing down differences over free trade with President Donald Trump, saying there is wide agreement that globalization delivers stronger economic growth. But officials at the spring meetings of the World Bank and International Monetary Fund (IMF) warned that too many people have been left behind at a time when low-wage competition and automation have reduced factory jobs in the world's wealthy economies. Meanwhile, the finance leaders met in a plenary session in Washington. This week, U.S. President Donald Trump ordered his Commerce Department to investigate whether steel imports pose a threat to U.S. national security. The move could lead the United States to impose tariffs on steel. But in Washington this week, IMF Chief Christine Lagarde and World Bank President Jim Yong Kim talked of the benefits of unfettered global trade. Mrs. Lagarde described protectionist measures as self-inflicted wounds that hobble economic growth. The G20 finance officials generally agreed with the IMF's assessment in its latest economic outlook that global growth should pick up this year, helped by improving conditions in the United States and China, the world's 2 biggest economies. Officials said as many as 140 Afghan soldiers were killed last Friday by Taliban attackers, apparently disguised in military uniforms, in what would be the deadliest attack ever on an Afghanistan military base. The Defense Ministry said a toll was over 100 Afghanistan soldiers killed and wounded. A member of the Afghanistan Provincial Council in Mazar-e-Sharif, where the attack happened, said over 150 dead bodies were counted, with more than 70 wounded in hospitals. As many as 10 Taliban fighters dressed in Afghanistan army uniforms and driving military vehicles made their way onto the base and opened fire on mostly unarmed soldiers eating a meal and leaving a mosque after Friday prayers. The attackers used rocket-propelled grenades and rifles, and several detonated suicide vests packed with explosives. Meanwhile, President Ashraf Ghani declared a national day of mourning after scores of soldiers were killed by Taliban fighters disguised as fellow soldiers in the Afghanistan military base. After arriving at Mazar-e-Sharif to visit the base, Mr. Ghani ordered that flags be flown at half-mast today in memory of the troops who died. During his visit to the camp, he met wounded soldiers and prayed for those killed in the attack. Pushing carts loaded with bags, babies and the elderly, hundreds of people fled Mosul after Iraqi forces retook 2 more districts in the west of the city from the IS. Families arrived from Hayal Tanak district, which they said was still half controlled by the militants. The US-trained counter-terrorism service, CTS, has retaken the nearby Al-Thawra and Al-Saha districts. CTS Commander Major General Maan Saadi said his troops were linking up with Iraq's federal police, moving in on the old city from a different position. Meanwhile, the federal police said in a statement, an 11-year-old Yazidi girl was freed by Iraqi forces during an assault on the IS in West Mosul. Farah Dakhil was kidnapped by the militants from the hometown of Sinjar about 3 years ago, her cousin said. The federal police released a statement saying Dakhil was freed during an assault by Iraqi forces in West Mosul neighborhood of Al-Tinak neighborhood, and that the only information she provided was her name. Russia's National Anti-Terror Committee spokesman Alexander Polyakov said security forces killed 2 armed militants who was trained by the IS and were planning a series of terrorist crimes. In a video distributed by the National Anti-Terror Committee, Polyakov said the 2 men had been killed in the Stavropol region of southern Russia after a shootout with security forces who had tried to stop their car. Russia's Federal Security Service said a gunman had burst into one of his regional offices in the far east of the country and opened fire, killing one of his employees and a visitor. The Site Intelligence Group, a US-based monitoring service, said the IS claimed responsibility for that attack. Videos uploaded to social media purported to show 120 prisoners were held by the Syrian government arriving at insurgent-held al-Rashidin and Aleppo province in Syria. The evacuation of Syrian civilians and fighters from 4 besieged towns was completed last Friday after a 48-hour halt as part of a mediated swap deal between the warring sides. Meanwhile, thousands of civilians and pro-government fighters from the Shia towns of Al-Fawa and Kafraya arrived in army-held Aleppo. Rebels reached an agreement with the government for it to release the first 500 prisoners who would cross into opposition areas as part of the wider deal. The other 250 prisoners would be released in the coming days. Stay with us for more news after this short break. Scattered wildfires were burning in drought-stricken parts of central and southwestern Florida, destroying 9 homes and triggering evacuation orders for about 2,000 other residences. Governor Rick Scott, who declared a state emergency on the 11th of April because of dry conditions in Florida, deployed National Guard troops to help residents to safety. He said he also authorized the use of 5 UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters to help fight the fire. In southwest Florida, wildfire destroyed 9 homes and charred about 1,942 hectares in Collier County. The southwest blaze, which started on Thursday and was only 10% contained yesterday, forced residents to evacuate in the Golden Gate Estates near area of Naples. Three people were killed after a landslide hit a village last night in East China's Fujian province. The landslide occurred at 8:55 p.m. at Zhongqing village of Qingjiao County in the city of Longyang, burying 3 villagers and an excavator and a truck. The local government immediately implemented the emergency plan and mobilized more than 200 firefighters and police officers to rescue the trapped people. About 6 hours after the landslide, the bodies of the 3 victims were recovered at 2:59 a.m. today. The investigation into the case and aftermath settlement are underway. China will work with 6 other countries to improve its freight train services bound for Europe. The move comes after China signed an agreement with the 6 countries, Belarus, Germany, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, Poland and Russia, on Thursday, with the aim of better serving the One Belt, One Road initiative. China has sent over 3,500 freight trains to Europe since 2011. At present, the cross-continental service has connected 27 Chinese cities and 28 cities across 11 European countries. Residents of Australia's biggest cities turned out in numbers to demonstrate their support for science as part of the Global March for Science initiative, held not coincidentally on Earth Day yesterday. According to the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, ABC, several thousand people assembled in Sydney's Martin Place at midday to hear speeches about the need to maintain public investment in science. Afterwards, the crowd marched peacefully up to the NSW State Parliament on Macquarie Street. The ABC said similar marches took place in Melbourne, Hobart, Perth, Brisbane and Townsville, joining like-minded supporters of science's restoration, marching in 500 locations around the world. The inaugural March for Science event coincided with International Earth Day, which marks the 22nd of April as the birth date of the International Environmental Movement on the 22nd of April 1970, when 20 million Americans demonstrated for a healthy environment. Sports news coming up. Some 2,000 people took part in the Larian Kebangsaan or National Run 2017, which took place in the capital this morning. The event was organized by the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports with the cooperation of the Brunei Darussalam Athletics Association in commemoration of the 33rd Brunei Darussalam National Day anniversary celebration. The run began at the Bandar Sri Begawan Royal Wharf and ended at the Taman Haji Sir Muda Omar Ali Saifuddin. The men's 5-kilometer open and 2-kilometer fun run were launched by Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Setia Awang Haji Ali bin Apong, Minister of Primary Resources and Tourism. Meanwhile, Yang Berhormat Bin Datuk Lail Raja, retired Major General Datuk Paduka Seri Haji Awang Halbi bin Haji Muhammad Yusof, Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports, launched the women's 5-kilometer open and 2-kilometer fun run. Also taking part in the run was Pengiran Datuk Paduka Haji Bahrom bin Pengiran Haji Bahar, Deputy Minister of Education. The 2002 group of former Mahat Islam Brunei 1984 to 2002 intake emerged champion in the 7-a-side football tournament. The tournament aimed to encourage healthy competition and to nurture sportsmanship among former Mahat Islam Brunei students. The 2002 group defeated the 1998 B group 3-0 through a penalty. Medals were presented by Pengiran Datuk Paduka Haji Bahrom bin Pengiran Haji Bahar, Deputy Minister of Education.
Beserta dengan piala pusingan dan medal bagi setiap pemain dan kupon minyak berharga.
To raise awareness on environmental issues is among the objectives of the 3rd Green Race organised by Green Brunei at Jalan Menteri Besar Recreation Park this morning. 80 participants aged between 16 to 35 took part in the race. The race, organised by the Health Promotion Centre, was filled with a series of challenging obstacles. Prizes were presented by Datin Paduka Dr. Haji Nurlila binti Datuk Paduka Haji Abdul Jalil, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports. The Brunei Mountain Bike Challenge Lugu Chapter 2017 began and ended at Kampung Lugu this morning. 6 categories were up for competition in the challenge. Fauzan Lutfi from Malaysia emerged champion the XCM Elite category. For the Master category, Marzan Haji Muhammad Jamin from Brunei was the champion. Imani Zaidi Haji Yunaidi won the men's novice category, and Ruzaidi Haji Ratu, also from Brunei, won the men's veteran category. In the women's elite, local Chiu Yinfa emerged champion, while the women's novice category was won by Nurhas Niti Juin. In the DST Premier League, one match took place this afternoon between DSP United and Pancur Murai FC. The match was played at Hasna Polkia Sports Complex, Track and Field in Brakas. Pancur Murai FC led the game 1-0 through Fadilah Haji Poster. DSP United then equalised through Muhammad Nurwafiuddin Haji Osman. The 1-1 draw remained until the final whistle. Meanwhile, Rimba Star had a narrow win against Tabuan Muda B in the DST Premier League last night at the Sungai Kebun Sports Complex. Rainbow Star in yellow led the game with an opening goal by Muhammad Adi Darwish in the 12th minute. 2 minutes later, Abdul Naim Abdul Rahim scored Rainbow Star's second goal. In the second half, Tabuan Mudabi earned its only goal in the 73rd through Muhammad Shazariel Daniel Rasid, and the result remained until the final whistle. In English Premier League, 4 matches took place last night. Meanwhile, 2 matches are played this evening. In the FA Cup semi-finals, Arsenal will go against Manchester City tonight. Meanwhile, late goals from Eden Hazard and Nemanja Matic sealed a 4-2 victory for Chelsea over London rivals Tottenham Hotspur in the rip-roaring FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. It was only the 4th time in the competition that the semi-final had featured the current top 2 in the top flight, and it did not disappoint as the title rivals produced a sizzling contest. Brazilian Willian surprisingly slated ahead of Hazard in the starting lineup twice, put Chelsea ahead, first after 4 minutes with a free kick and then close to half-time from the penalty spot. Twice Tottenham roared back with Harry Kane heading them level after 18 minutes and Dele Alli making it 2-2 with a superb finish 7 minutes after the break. Tottenham, who are 4 points behind Chelsea in the league after a brilliant run of form, dominated at times, but the hopes of the first FA Cup final since 1999 was sunk late on. First, Hazard, who replaced Willian with half an hour remaining, buried a low shot past Hugo Lloris after 25 minutes. Then Matic's 30-metre pile driver sank Spurs, who have won only one of their last 9 matches at Wembley and have now lost in 7 successive FA Cup semi-finals. Barcelona coach Luis Enrique said the Clásico against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu might decide the league title. Real Madrid can take a giant step towards their first La Liga title in 5 years when they host the champions today, looking to extend their lead over their arch-rivals at the top of the table to 6 points with a game in hand. If Madrid win, they will need only 9 more points from the 18 available to win the league. Barca, who trail Real by 3 points, having played a game more, are under even more pressure than usual after last Wednesday's Champions League elimination by Juventus. Lionel Messi requires 2 more goals to reach 500 for Barcelona and will have his sights set on achieving the milestone against Real Madrid in Clásico. Although Messi is La Liga's top scorer this season with 29 goals, he has not netted in his past 6 appearances against Real, dating back to his 2014 hat-trick at the Bernabeu. Barcelona will be without suspended striker Neymar after their appeal against his 3-match ban failed. The Czech Republic stayed in the running for a 4th consecutive Fed Cup title when they finished the opening day singles locked at 1-1 in their semi-final against the United States. Despite missing several top players, the Czechs showed their depth when world number 38 Kateryna Siniakova beat American Shelby Rogers 6-3, 6-3 in the second match. Coco Vandeweghe got the US off to a winning start on the outdoor green clay in Florida with a 6-1, 6-4 result over Marketa Vondrousova. But Siniakova's victory very much keeps alive Czech hopes of a 6th title in 7 years. In Minsk, Belarus and Switzerland were also blocked at 1-1. Alexandra Sasnovich of Belarus beat Victoria Golubic 6-3, 5-7, 7-5, but world number 22 Timea Baczynski of Switzerland leveled the tie with a 6-4, 7-5 win over Ariana Sabalenka. Both semi-finals will wrap up today with the reverse singles in a doubles match. Katerina Siniakova of Czech Republic beat Shelby Rogers 6-3, 6-3. Coco Vanderberg of US beat Marketa Vondrosova 6-1, 6-4. We'll bring you the weather forecast next. The general local weather for the next 24 hours is expected to be partly cloudy with showers or thunder showers over a few areas. Tonight, the weather is expected to be partly cloudy with showers or thunder showers mainly over the inland areas. Sea slight at 0.5 to 1 meter and wind from southeast at 5 to 10 kilometers per hour. Tomorrow morning, the weather will be generally partly cloudy. Sea is the same as tonight's, while wind is from southwest at 5 to 10 kilometers per hour. And the afternoon will be partly cloudy with isolated showers, especially over the interior. Sea state remains light at 0.5 to 1 meter, while wind from northwest at 10 to 25 kilometers per hour. Wallahu bisawab. A look at the forecast for Brunei Darussalam for the next 3 days and the weather for some of the main cities around the world. To conclude the bulletin, let's reflect on the hadith or tradition of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ as narrated by Abi ad-Dunya and Ash-Shihab. Helping the weak is the best gesture. And that concludes News at 10 for this evening. Good night. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.